Welcome to the Training Camp Report right here on Giants.com. My name is John Schmelk. It is day 4 of camp, day 3 of practice here at the Timex Performance Center. And joining me to talk about everything going on with the New York Football Giants is the beat reporter for Giants.com, Michael Eisen. Mike, welcome.
How are you, John?
I'm doing great, and of course, still no Osi Umenyiora at practice. He's standing on the side, sitting on a bicycle, watching the festivities. And Mike, we don't know when he's going to get back, and that means a lot of more reps for Jason Pierre-Paul, the Giants' first-round pick last season. And Perry Fewell really thinks he could have a breakout year.
Yeah, Perry Fewell was very enthused about Jason Pierre-Paul when he spoke to the media today. And, a second year, you look for the first-round draft choice to step up. He certainly has the capability to be a starter. Matthias Kiwanuka also hasn't practiced yet because he's not allowed to till Thursday. But one thing Perry Fewell said, if all 4 of those guys are here, including Justin Tuck, he can find playing time and room for all of them.
And Perry Fewell also had a chance to talk about a couple other guys on the defense as well. Let's start with first-round pick Prince Amukamara. Unfortunately, he has not reached a contract deal yet. He is not in camp, and he talked about how that's going to hurt the young cornerback.
It's very tough. Every day he misses, he's missing good knowledge and good information, and it's a word that he can use to help him in his skill set. So that'll be very difficult, and we like to get him in as soon as possible, but again, that's above me right now.
And especially in a very, very tough environment, Mike, with no mandatory minicamps, no OTAs. For a draft pick to get in here late is really going to set him behind.
Yeah, any rookie who's late is going to be behind. He's going to be playing catch-up, but especially this year, as you mentioned, John, when Prince Amukamara has not been here since draft day, doesn't have a playbook to study, so he's coming in totally from starting from scratch. He really needs to get in here, or else it's going to be very hard for him to contribute, especially early in the season.
And frankly, with Aaron Ross, Terrell Thomas, and Corey Webster, if he doesn't get here and perform, he's not going to play that much.
Yeah, he's going to have a hard time cracking the lineup. But Aaron Ross is very determined to keep that number 3 spot. He's well aware the Giants drafted him as a challenge to Aaron Ross. So I think Amukamara's got to get in here pretty quick, or he's going to find himself way behind.
Another member of that secondary, Mike, is Kenny Phillips. Kenny suffered a very serious knee injury 2 years ago. He came back last year, but didn't quite look like the same player. Perry Fewell thinks this season is going to be a different story.
I'm looking for him to take a quantum leap. After coming off his injury and then playing in the 2010 season, as a coach, and I will admit this, I protected him a little bit, because, hey, I wanted Kenny to be on the field for us. I wanted him to play for us. Football's a violent game, and so I tried to minimize the collisions that he encountered last year. But Kenny, he showed that he showed his football intelligence. We call it FBI. He showed that in the 2 days of camp, and then he's ready for that bigger role. As we've talked, he's ready for another role within our defense. So I'm looking for big things.
And Perry Fewell hopes he sees the Kenny Phillips Giants fans saw before he got here 3-4 years ago, Mike, when he was all over the field.
Well, traditionally, it seems when you have an ACL, which Kenny Phillips didn't have, it's the 2 years after the surgery that you're really back to 100%. I would assume it would be the same for microfracture surgery. Obviously, it was not the Kenny Phillips we were accustomed to last year, but now almost 2 years removed from surgery, I guess it's about 22 months now, you'd think he'd be approaching it, if not at peak form by now. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of strides he makes this year.
And then Perry Fewell also mentioned with a little bit of a smile that Kenny maybe came in a little bit heavier than they would have liked this year. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, my guess is he's not the only one since they were not here for mini camps and off-season programs, but it's hot out and they can lose that weight pretty quick.
We also spoke to offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride today. He addressed the media and he talked about exactly how the teaching process with these players is different this season with no mini camps, no OTAs.
It's different only in the sense that instead of this being the 3rd time you've gone through something once in your OTAs, the 2nd time reviewing it in minicamp, this is the 3rd time through it. Now it's the 1st time. For the older guys, it's more of a, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot, or you're chipping off a little rust. For the new guys, it's the 1st time you've heard it. So trying to reconcile the pace with new guys who've never heard any of this stuff before, with the guys who, you're ready to work on the refinement and the nuances of some things, can be a little bit challenging.
And the way Gilbride described it, Mike, it has to be a little bit frustrating for the veterans who want to get a lot of work in, but then maybe the rookie next to him or the first-year guy next to him doesn't know how the drill works, doesn't know what plays getting run. It's got to be frustrating for the players and the coaches.
Yeah, this year more than any, the players that have been here previously are well ahead of the newcomers. You know, the rookies, they didn't have the playbook. They didn't have anything to really go off of. So Kevin Gilbride, he could have walked into the first meeting and said, gentlemen, this is a football. He didn't have to do that. But, you know, he's got to walk a fine line between not being too slow for the veterans and not being too fast for the rookies. And it's just going to be trial and error, really, as you go through camp and the preseason.
And with a lot more fundamental stuff being taught here in training camp, the installation process has to be a little bit slower. So that first preseason games, these guys probably won't have as many plays in the playbook as they normally would.
Oh, I would expect very basic run right, run left.
3 yards at a cloud of dust, right,
yeah,
Mike?
I can't imagine there's going to be anything very elaborate in that first preseason game because, you know, as you said, John, you just don't have time to install that much in 2 weeks.
Tuesday, Mike, is day off. We'll be back with a night practice on Wednesday. And, of course, on Wednesday, we will have another edition of the Training Camp Report. Mike, thanks for joining us as always. And, everybody, make sure you check out Giants.com every day for all the media avails and all of the latest news from Giants Training Camp right here at the Timex Performance Center. Also, follow the Giants on social media. Follow them at Giants on Twitter, and, of course, be a fan of them on Facebook at facebook.com/New York Giants. From Michael Eisen, I'm John Schmelk. Thanks for joining us on the Training Camp Report. We'll see you next time.